student. This is Hirdesh Kumar from Galgotia University and Department of Computer Science and Engineering. And this is the lecture number 2. And today we will discuss about the introduction to cloud computing and deployment and their types of cloud computing. So today's objective where we have discussed about the different categories of cloud computing and their types, and we have also discussed about the multi cloud computing systems and hybrid multi cloud computing systems, and we have also discussed about there are some securities or the cloud securities issue. Okay, so basically, if we're talking about the cloud computing, there are three types of cloud computing systems we are using in the today's scenario, or we have categorized in the three form, which is first one is private cloud computing, second is public cloud computing, and the third is hybrid cloud computing. So first we'll discuss about the public cloud computing. So the public cloud computing is a type of cloud computing in which a cloud service provider makes the computing resources and anything from the SaaS, which is a software as a services applications, to be individual virtual machines or bare metal computing hardware to complete the enterprises grades infrastructures and deployment or development platforms available to the user over the public internet. Okay, so these resources might be accessible for free, and access might be sold according to the subscriptions based on the requirement of the customer or the price model which mentioned through the company. So in the public cloud platform where we can publicly access the different types of resources through the SaaS, which is a software as a services. So the software as a services can run on the virtual machine, and the virtual machine is directly interact through the operating systems and the hardware. So in the virtual machines we have plotted the different required operating systems which you use into your project, and through this operating system we have installed the softwares and the services which we required as per the requirement of the customers or as per the requirement of the user. So this is the public cloud where the all needs we can fulfill according to the request which required into a project. So the public cloud basically provider or own manage and assume all the responsibility for the data center and the hardware and infrastructure on which its customer workload run. So typically it can provide the high bandwidth network connectivity to ensure that high performance and rapid access the applications and their data. So the high performance and the application which you accessible through the internet is all depend on the bandwidth network or the frequency of the network, and you can say the speed of the network. So every hardware or infrastructure is wholesale responsible or depend on the network connectivity. So the public cloud is multi-tenant environment. So the cloud providers data center infrastructure is shared by all public cloud customer. So in the leading public cloud or we are talking about the cloud services which provide the company is AWS, which is the Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, or the IBM Cloud, Microsoft Azure, or the Oracle Cloud, and many more companies who give the facilities or the customer as per the customer requirement. You can be connected with all these cloud, and million and trillions of customers are connected with these cloud companies and cloud company services. So now second is the private cloud, or you can say the private cloud systems. So the private cloud is a cloud environment in which all cloud infrastructure and the computing resources are dedicated to. So you can accessible by one customer only at a time. So the private cloud combine many of the benefits of cloud computing, where we can included so many things like the elasticity, scalability, or easy to use the service delivery with the access control, security, and resources customization on a premises infrastructure. So the individual customer can avail the different services of cloud system through the cloud environment, and the company or the service provider can provide the access control level according to the user requirement, and it can secure the whole line or whole infrastructure platform, and also provided the resources, and the resources which you required in your project, it can be customized according to the request. So, a private cloud is typically hosted on the premises in the customer data center. So, the private cloud can also be hosted on an independent cloud provider infrastructure, or built on the rented infrastructure housed in the off-site data center. So, the requirement of the customer, either you are using the uh, directly uses the infrastructure, then it can provided you as per the requirement of the customer. Like if you really want to access the different data centers, or you want to directly store some data to through the storage center, so you can directly store all the things. And if you generally use the different technology or the applications into the cloud platform, like if you want to run some programs, or if you want to run some applications on the platform, so the cloud can provide you the all resources which you required as per the requirement of yours. So the many companies chooses the cloud private cloud over the public cloud, because the private cloud is easier way to meet their regulatory compliances requirement. Okay, so other choices of the private cloud, because their workload deal with the confidential document, intellectual properties, personally identification informations, or the medical reports, financials data, and there are so many sensitive data so you can use or you can store through the private cloud systems. Next, third is the hybrid cloud system. So the hybrid cloud system is just sound like the combination of the private and public cloud environment, where specifically or identically the hybrid cloud connects an organization private cloud services and the public cloud into a single flexible infrastructure for running the organizational applications and their workloads. So the goal of the hybrid cloud is to establish a mix of public and private cloud resources, and with a level of orchestrations between them. So that will give an organizational flexibility to choose the optimal cloud for each applications or workload, and to move the workload freely between the two clouds as per the circumstances you can change. So this enabled the organization to meet its technical and business objectives, which more effectively and cost effectively than it could with the public or private cloud alone. So the multiple cloud is the use of two or more clouds for the two or more different cloud providers. So having the multiple cloud environment can use as a simple using email SaaS, like the software as a services from one vendor, and the image editing SaaS from the another. But when enterprises talk about the multiple cloud, they are typically talking about using the multiple cloud services, like including the software as a services, or infrastructure as a services, or the platform as a services from two or more of the leading public cloud providers. So, in one way, the 85% of the organization reported using the multiple or multi-cloud environment system. So the hybrid multi-cloud is uses of two or more public cloud together with a private cloud environment. Okay, so the next is the cloud security. So if we're talking about the cloud security, it is obvious we can secure the cloud network, we can secure the cloud infrastructure, we can secure the cloud software applications, and we can also secure the different types of hardware which we are using in the cloud security. So traditionally, the security concern have been the primary obstacle for organizational which considering the cloud services. So particularly the public cloud services in responses to demand. However, the security offered by cloud services provide in steadily outstripping or premises of the security solutions. So, if we're talking about the cloud security, then according to the cloud security software provider like the McAfee, so today's the 52% of the companies experience the better security in the cloud than on premises. So, if we're talking about the outside the cloud, then IBM and Gartner has predicted that by this year of 2020, the infrastructure as a services cloud workload will experience the 60% fewer security incident than those in the traditional data center. So this is the data which shared by the IBM company. So that is the most important. So, if we're talking about the security, so maintaining the cloud security demands in the different procedures and the employee skill test in then the legacy of IT environments. So, there are some cloud security practices, including some following points which we have shared with you. So, shared the responsibility for security. So, if we're talking about that, the cloud provider is responsible for securing the cloud infrastructures, and the customer is responsible for protecting its data within the cloud. But it is also important that clearly define the data ownership between the private and public third parties. Second, if we're talking about the data and encryption, so the data should be encrypted while at rest in the transit, and solving their issues or uses according to the encryption's problem. So the customer need to maintain full control over the security keys and the hardware security modules. Third one is the user identity and the access management, where the customer or you can say the IT team need full understanding of and visibility into the network. So device applications or data accessible through the access management or user identity verifications. Fourth is the collaborative management, where the proper communications and clearly understandable process between IT. So the operations and security team will ensure the seamless cloud integrations that are secure the unstable processes. Fifth is the security and compliances monitoring, where this being with understanding all the regulatory compliances standard applicable to your industry, and setting up the active monitoring of all the connected systems, and the cloud-based services to be maintained visibility for all data exchanging between the public, private, or the hybrid cloud environment. So within the 25% of organization planning to move all their applications to cloud within the next year, it would seems that the cloud computing uses or use cases are limitless. But even the companies not planning for wholesale shifting to the cloud, because the certain initiatives and cloud computing are a match made in IT heaven. So the disaster recovery and business continuity have always been a natural for cloud, because cloud provides the cost effective redundancy to protect the data against the system failure, and the physical distance required to recover the data and applications into event of a local outage or disaster. So all the major public cloud provider offer the disaster recovery as a services, which is called the DRAAS. At last, if we talking about the securities issues, then anything of involved to storing the processing or storing the huge volume of data at high speed and require the more storage and computing capacity than most organization can or want to purchase or deploy on premises is to be a target for cloud computing. For example, if we're talking about that a cloud computing system by using the huge amount of storage and data, then definitely we will go for the big data analytics, the internet of things, IoT, or the artificial intelligence, where the particularly machine learning and deep learning application to be applied for the cloud computing system. So all these technologies are directly involved with the cloud computing, and we can process the huge amount of data to analysis, and we can conclude the so many results according to the customer requirement or the company requirement. So now the today's session is closed. We will continue the cloud computing into the next sessions. Okay. So thank you all of you, or if you are having any problem, then you can directly connect it with me, uh, or I will sort it out your whole questions if you are having. Okay, so thank you so much.